Anderson, James Pelton, and Ronald Patterson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to have Ms. Peggy Kellen's make the announcement about public comment on agenda items. Peggy, do you mind?
Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to listen to public.
Scott is next on the agenda.
Yes. Go ahead.
Superintendent Scott.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Pedro. We have brought back the Spotlight on program, which we're all very pleased about. And this evening, we have two of our professional developers, Mr. John Salmon and Ms. Tara Kohler. We have been working very diligently in establishing partnerships with members of our community, with businesses, with local government, towns, municipalities. And tonight, you're going to hear of a very, very successful partnership that we have with Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital of Westchester Medical Center. And Mrs. Kohler and Mr. Salmon were instrumental in putting this project together, as well as students from Fishkill Plains and Roy C. Ketchum High School. And with that, Mrs. Kohler, Mr. Salmon, the floor is yours. Oh, thank you.
There we go. All right. No problem.
Thank you, Dr. Bach.
Okay.
So we have a presentation that we'll speak to briefly. We'll go through it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better there?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a presentation that we're going to run through briefly to highlight the project that we worked on. So the project did include, Dr. Blanc had mentioned Fishkill Plains and Royce Ketchum. There was also Oak Grove Elementary. So Happy Little Accidents was a partnership with Mid-Hudson Regional, taking a collision course that included kindergarten, grade 4, and high school. We would like to acknowledge, obviously, the school board and senior staff at Wappingers for valuing the professional development positions that we actually have within the school district and the opportunities that we get to give to the students within. So the professional development team, we'll go through this a little bit quicker, involves various individuals that had supported us in the work that we were doing. But we'd like to specifically go to the next page where we can highlight the actual buildings and the building principals and the teachers that were supporting us. So you can see from Fishkill Plains, from Oak Grove, and from Royce Ketchum, the principals that were involved and the educators that were working with us as we facilitated this project within the school district. And then, of course, we have the individuals from Mid-Hudson Regional that were supporting us and with the outreach that we were in constant contact with as we were working through this.
So how did this begin? Over the past 4 years, Mr. Salmon and I have worked with Mr. Bliss at Roy CK, having his manufacturing class fabricate final products. What we did this year was we leveled it up for our students and our district by taking the product to be public, which went to Mid-Hudson Regional, and you'll see what that final product was. But we also leveled it up for our high schoolers, where we gave them 9 potential project-based learning experiences that they could choose from that we knew were in alignment with our elementary science curriculum. And they were able to vet through the 9 choices, and they picked something that was meaningful to them, that was high interest for them, while being in alignment with the constraints of material and time at RCK.
So whenever we deliver project-based learning, we ground it in a real-world experience for the children. So it's learning that goes out to the real world. they're finding the relevance in their learning and how it connects to various jobs and things of that nature. So in this particular case, we started off, we delivered the storyline to the students. We were explaining to them what they would have to do, where they were going to be creating a Rube Goldberg machine and collaborating with each other as well as community partners. And then it was going to be delivered there as a donation gift to the Children's Ward at Mid-Hudson Regional, the new department that they're building there. It's an extension of Maria Ferrari. So we utilized the physical science concepts that included pushes and pulls and collisions, and we worked through prototyping. And then ultimately we went into the design thinking process where students were collaborating with each other and the community partners in the design.
And so the learning journey began with the kindergarten and fourth graders seeing a video, a scientific phenomena of a Rube Goldberg machine. And from there, the students on their own develop questions. What do I need to know so that I can make one of these, so we can make one of these and donate it to the hospital? And so their need to know questions were revisited throughout the experience. And there was great opportunity for the kindergartners and fourth graders to collaborate as they investigated their scientific concepts through many different lessons.
So the learning journey continued as the kids developed their knowledge within the science base, addressing their need to know questions. And ultimately what they did was we went into the design thinking process where they were fabricating their own Rube Goldberg machines for themselves. We ultimately did the brainstorming and some of the prototyping in the classrooms, and then went home. You can see the picture in the center where they were doing it at home with their families, and then they were making videos within Flipgrid, and they were recording themselves and then bringing that back into school so their teachers could take a look at their original designs and their unique work.
And so we were able to connect with families by those videos being sent in. Some use Flipgrid, some sent videos. We were able to use Google Meet as a way to connect with Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital multiple times, where we would get all 5 classrooms on the same Google Meet with Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital. And then the high schoolers communicated using Flipgrid because the timing of their secondary schedule was a little tricky with our elementary schedule.
So the great part about this is that those students created their videos of Flipgrid, and then they shared them, and we actually shared them with all of our high school students. So our high schoolers actually vetted through 91 unique videos that our elementary students made as inspiration for what they were ultimately going to design and be donating. And so you can see here some of the original pictures of the teachers working through with the students. But what was great was the high schoolers were calling out the elementary students by name. Like, Emily, we loved how you utilized this in your design. So they took commonalities among all the elementary student designs, and that was the inspiration for what they ultimately fabricated.
And so final production. So this learning journey began last December, where students were working through their science lessons, and it took from December through June for it to culminate. And we were so lucky that we were able to have our elementary students take a field trip to RCK, where you'll see the pictures of them up there. They got to see the final product. They got to put their hands on it. And it was a great opportunity for the high schoolers to see how durable their final product was, because you had roughly 90 students putting their hands on it, interacting with it, playing with it. So if there were any mishaps, they were able to be worked out. But sure enough, the machine was able to handle 90-something students interacting with it, which was awesome. It also afforded these students an opportunity to see what the classrooms look like there, working through the metal work, using the CNC router machines. And the high school students were wonderful as they, wore the safety goggles. All the kids did, and they were able to see, what machines were used to fabricate the final product.
So Mr. Bliss is obviously going to be having an influx of fourth grade students when they get to him, joining his technology class. So the big reveal happened over the summer on July 14th. Dr. Bonk was there, Mr. McFarland was there. We had various students and staff that attended as well. There were the hospital executives that were there. So they're developing, it was supposed to be in late spring, early summer, but with all construction, they obviously pushed it out. They're going to be bringing a Maria Ferrari extension up to Mid-Hudson Regional in our location. And so this Rube Goldberg is going to be a donation that goes to students from children from our community who are going to the hospital for various circumstances. So it's a pleasant distraction for the sick children that will be there. And it was created by Wappinger Central School District children. We have publications that came out from Mid-Hudson Regional themselves and Southern Duchess newspaper. And then obviously you can see the picture of the final product there in one of their conference rooms with the various teachers and students alike that were there. And of course, Dr. Bonk looks fantastic up in the top corner there, very proud.
And like Mr. Salmon said at the beginning, we can't thank this Board of Education and Central Administration for valuing the job that we get to do with our school community and, at large, our community in general. So thank you so much.
And so Mid-Hudson Regional, after our meeting with them that day, here, I'm going to bring this back over, I'm sorry. After meeting with them that day, they want to continue the partnership. And so it's something that we'll be working with them on a regular basis. Talking with Mr. Bliss about various things that we can fabricate, the elementary students, and what various projects we can align to their current science curriculum and math curriculums. And we're going to continue this partnership moving forward. So we're really excited, and they're very excited to be working with us as well.
Great job.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Karen, John, I'm proud of both of you. The district is very fortunate to have individuals like yourself working with our students as well as our teachers. So I can't express how grateful we are to have you guys working. And thank you for such a great project. It's unfortunate the seniors could not be here because obviously they graduated. And I wish they could be here to actually share this experience. And this is for the first of many highlights that we're going to be presented during the year. Thank you very much.
We'll keep them coming.
Thank you.
4.01, public comments on agenda items. Peggy, you mind reading it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to listen to public comment. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a debate or dialogue. Please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. Any questions from the public should be submitted through the use of the public comment form, which may be obtained online or at the desk with the district clerk. We will have the proper staff member get back to you as appropriate. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to address any comments or questions about specific students or school personnel. We would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. A total of 30 minutes at the beginning of each board meeting is set aside to allow for public comments on agenda items only. Public comment at the beginning of the meeting is limited to items on the agenda. Persons who wish to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting are asked to provide their name and the specific agenda item about which they wish to speak. Individual comments on agenda items is limited to 3 minutes and are welcome. If you wish to address items relating to our school district that are not on tonight's agenda, another comment period is provided at the end of the meeting for that purpose. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, clapping, booing, or any disturbance or disruption during either public comment period is not permitted. At this time, comments related to agenda items are welcome.
If anybody wants to comment, please come forward to comment on agenda items. Okay, seeing none. 4.02, communication announcements received by the Board of Education. Anything? Anybody? Well, nobody wants to make a comment. John, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to mention that I was speaking with an administrator from another school district over the weekend, and they just commented based on reports that they heard how well it reflected on our school district to have, I don't know what the attendance was, but I'll say a tightly packed campus at John Jay on Friday evening. And it was just a very positive reflection on our students in our district, that there were, that behavior was excellent. And I just wanted to share that with the board.
Anyone else? I'd like to concur that. Now, I happened to be at the John Jay game Friday night. There was over 4,000 students were there, people there. They were extremely well behaved. I'm very proud of both schools for their behavior. Really, really good. And also, I'd like to remind parents that this week, Dr. Miller's in the enhanced program, math program is starting. The schools that are participating are Myers, Fishkill Plains, Brinkerhoff, Oak, and Sheaf. So parents, I would encourage they get involved in this program. I think it's one of the best programs Dr. Miller does for students. They love mathematics. That makes them think. It's very important. So please see if you can get your kids to participate in such a fantastic program. Again, the schools are Myers, Fishkill Plains, Brinkerhoff, Oak, and Sheaf. Anyone else? Marie?
Just to let everyone know, we do have a Community Communications Committee coming up this Thursday evening, 5 o'clock at District Office.
Board Committee reports. Policy, Peggy Killen.
All right. To follow up on that, we also have a policy committee meeting this Wednesday at 5 o'clock at district office. The public is welcome to attend. We did meet in September. We received some policy updates from the state that we looked over, and our attorneys felt that we were already in good position and did not need to make changes on those things aside from some minor grammatical matters. We also continued our 3-year cycle of reviewing all our policies. We're again starting at the beginning of the policy manual, and we're doing the first part this year. And again, there were only grammatical changes that were made, and they are up for first and second reading. You'll see on the agenda.
Capital Improvement Committee, Co-Chair Eddie, Slushour, and Michael Paul. Eddie,
I'm fine. So just to keep things going with committee meetings, the Capital Improvement Committee has a meeting this Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the RCK Annex. Of course, like all the other committees, it is open to the public if anybody wants to come and watch. A few items. Our big energy performance project with Amoresco with solar. We do have 2 buildings that are up and running, which is Vassar Road and James Evans. Our other 5 schools, we have, not real hiccups. We're just waiting for some additional parts and things to come in, and testing that has to be done by Central Hudson. So what I'd like to do is just kind of skip over that, and hopefully by November, December, when all of that is done, can kind of just do one real report on the solar project for the entire district. But we do have solar up and running at, like as I said, at Vassar Road and at Evans Elementary High School. Our focus really at the last meeting was just a quick recap of our summer projects, which I've mentioned. Those are all pretty much 99% done. Just waiting for a couple of minor things to come in. Some railings for Myers Corner and John Jay. We anticipate that in and installed at some point this month. Can still continue work at John Jay with regards to the new student drop-off and roundabout. Again, they are still anticipating having that done by the end of November. So fingers are crossed from that standpoint. We're just waiting for some light poles and some other things to come in to finish our portion of the student drop-off. Our other main focus was our new capital project moving forward that the taxpayers approved at the last election. Plans are being drawn up by our architects. We anticipate those plans being submitted to SED at some point this month. Just again, to let everybody know, it's about 47 weeks for approval. So we are anticipating having these projects out to bid hopefully by next April, May, and then commence on the next phase of improvements for next summer. That'll include also the monies that we received, the federal aid with regards to improving the HVAC systems. So those plans are also going to go up with the architect's plans to State Education Department, and again, our first building with regards to some upgrades for the HVAC and air conditioning is Fishkill Plains Elementary, since most of our special education summer program is held there. With regards to some in-house projects, we had received some communications from some community members with regards to the walkway that connects Evans and this school, Walk Junior, in the back. That's an in-house project that's currently being repaired. So we would anticipate, I would say, hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days, that will be completely taken care of. And that walkway will have some access for students and parents to go back and forth. Let's just see what a minor item. The other thing we had talked about is our welding booths at both of the junior high schools for that vocational project. Some tables and certain things we're still waiting for to come in. We're almost completed. Again, we hope to have those rooms ready and up and running shortly. And then we can commence with the full scale on the welding program at both of the junior high schools. And that should pretty much do it. So thank
Mike,
you.
want to add anything to that? Mike?
No, thank you.
Peggy? New York State School Board Association, Commissioner Roundtable discussion?
Yes. I had the great good fortune to be asked to represent the Mid-Hudson area in a round table with the New York State Commissioner of Education at the NYSBA, that's New York State School Boards Association, headquarters up in Latham, New York. It was pretty exciting. There were about 20 of us from different school boards around the state, and we were seated in a hollow rectangle. And since they placed us alphabetically by school districts, A got to sit next to the commissioner, and so did Wappinger's W. So I got to chat with her staff and with the commissioner herself during all the breaks, which was very good. So I tried to get across our situations and problems here. The topic was assess the state assessments. And first of all, of course, we had input from the commissioner and her staff. They said that P-TECH, pathways, early college, etc., they would like to see become the norm, not the exception. They're thinking in terms of pre-K through 20, P through 20, which would be through college, not just K through 12, to better align all the educational development that students receive, and that they feel that they're trying to make it more individualized and more appropriate for all sorts of different students. Not lowering standards. The commissioner was very firm on that. She said she had worked hard herself, and she hoped that everybody else would too, to the best of their ability. Okay, they said that the primary purpose of assessments is improving student learning, training the mind to think. Knowledge is important, imagination is the superstar. And so they're looking for multiple assessments, not a single story. The New York State tests are in order to identify gaps and direct resources better to the students that need it and the schools that need it. When we spoke about it, when it became our opportunity to talk, I think most of us approached this the same way she said they were going to do, that not every particular assessment is right for every student, and that rigid testing requirements and standards are not always appropriate. There should be room for exceptions, variations, that teachers should not be judged on the outcomes of their students because it discourages teachers from taking on difficult students, and that instead we should be looking at the improvement that students make, not so much on a bell curve, but how much that student has improved rather than where they fit on a predetermined scale. So it was very rewarding, and I hope that they do follow through on what they're saying and make these tests better. We also pointed out that getting the test results back so late hinders us from using the tests to improve teaching and to reach individual children's problems. They said they're working on that, But it seems kind of strange when as I pointed out, back when we teachers used to mark our own tests, we had the results the next day. And here they send them out and it takes months, although they're supposedly doing it in a computerized way in many cases. And it's hard to understand why it takes so long. So they said they're working on it. We hope so. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. 5.01 Superintendent Report. Dr. Bach, it's all yours.
Thank you, President Lumia. I, like Vice President Calland, also had an opportunity to meet with some state education department officials over the past couple of weeks. And I am pleased to report that I believe that they understand that you can no longer determine whether or not a child graduates or not based on a 3-hour Regents exam. I am pretty confident they're looking more toward a portfolio type of system where there will be multiple assessments. We all know that all students learn, but they don't learn in the same manner and to the same degree. We all know that testing does not necessarily measure how knowledgeable a student is about a specific course. It basically tells you how knowledgeable they are about what is on the test. So I also, like Vice President Calland, was very pleased from what I heard from the State Education Department. I also believe that you're going to see a continued emphasis on career, vocational, and technical education, and preparing students for society today, which is much different than it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. Society has changed, businesses have changed, and education's got to move along with it. So I'd like to comment on that, which I found to be very, very positive. In addition to that, the individual that is sitting to my left, Board President John Lumia, who is not feeling tremendous this evening, but he looks tremendous. Doesn't he look great? Better than I did in the picture, and I'd like to thank all of the staff for photoshopping that picture of me up there. The check is in the mail.
Thank God they photoshopped that picture.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. So this evening, President Lumia, it is my honor to present you with the New York State School Boards Association Board Achievement Award for participation in the New York State School Boards Association Leadership Development Training. And this is signed by the President, Peggy Zugabe, and the Executive Director, Robert Schneider. So with that, Mr. Lumia, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Anyway, thank you, Dr. Bach. Anything else? Good. Consent agenda. Does anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
No, but I'd just like to make a comment.
I'm sorry?
I don't want to remove, but I'd just like to make a comment. I'd just like to make a comment. It's really good to see those overnight field trips back on the consent agenda. It just means that things are getting back to normal. You know, our teachers and faculty and staff do a great job of educating our kids in the classroom. There's also education that goes on outside of the classroom, and I really appreciate seeing that on the consent agenda. So
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Spencer. Peggy, with that said, resolved. Go ahead.
Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated: 6.02, 6.03, 6.04, 6.05, 6.06, 6.07, 6.08, 6.09, 6.10, 6.11, and 6.12.
Motion, Marie, second. Peggy, all in favor? Unanimous.
If I could, I'd just like to comment on item 6.07, the approval of extension amendment agreement between the Wappinger Central School District and the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department. As you know, the safety of our students and staff is our top priority, and I would like to thank Sheriff Imperati and the Sheriff's Office for working with us in placing 2 school resource officers, one at Wappingers Junior High School, which is new, and one at Royce C. Ketchum High School. In addition to that, we are working, you've probably seen, if you've looked at the list, a number of contracts with our local police departments. They are in our school buildings at points during the school day. We can't release when they're there. That kind of defeats the purpose of it. But they are working with us to ensure that our schools are safe. I need to thank Assistant Superintendent of Administration, Mr. Darren Lolkema, for all of his efforts as we have agreements with the New York State Police, Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, the town of Fishkill, the village of Fishkill, the town of East Fishkill, the town of Poughkeepsie. Is there any department that I've omitted, Mr. Lolkema? I mentioned state troopers, correct. So again, I just wanted to make note of that. Thank you.
Your microphone.
Mike. Okay, 7.01, approval of the revised 22-23 school calendar.
Whereas the Board of Education adopted the 2022-2023 school calendar at their meeting of March 14th, 2022, and revised it on June 6, 2022. Whereas it has been determined that the 2022-2023 school calendar requires an additional revision to add June 1st as a Regents testing day. Therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education does hereby amend the school calendar and adopts the 2022-2023 school calendar as revised.
Motion Marie, second. Mike McFarland, discussion. All in favor? Unanimous. 8.01, 8.01, approval of district comprehensive improvement plan and the school comprehensive education plan for Wabash Junior High School.
Whereas the New York State Education Department Commissioners Regulation 100.18H 3B1 requires the Board of Education to approve the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan and the Comprehensive Education Plans for schools identified by the New York State Education Department as a targeted support and improvement school. And whereas such regulation requires that each TSI school develop and implement a comprehensive education plan, and whereas this plan will be formally approved by the Board of Education, and whereas the Board of Education reviewed the school comprehensive education plan for Wapages Junior High School, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approves the comprehensive education plan for the district and Wapages Junior High School for the 2022-23 school year.
Motion Marie, second. Mike McFarland. All in favor? Unanimous. Second reading of adoption of policy.
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wapager Central School District hereby approves the second reading of and adopts the following policies based upon the first reading by the board and the recommendation of the audit committee as stated.
Motion Marie, second. Keith. All those in favor? Unanimous. Before we go on, I'd like to thank the Moms of Liberty for donating copies of the Constitution to our students. It's much appreciated. So thank you for the donation. All right. And with that being said, 9.01.
No, 8.03.
I'm sorry.
8.03. 8.03.
I'm sorry.
I just want to I wanted you to make an announcement that the books that were donated are unbranded, so it doesn't give any type of political group on the books or on the books for the students.
Thank you. 8.03, first reading of policies. If anyone has looks at these policies, any comments, please address them to Peggy Keller, the chairperson, so that if change cabinet will be made. So please look at those policies and see if you agree with them or not. Please refer your comments to Peggy Keller.
As I said before, the changes are simply grammatical, but if anyone would like to comment on them, please let us know.
Go ahead.
Okay, additions are underlined and or highlighted in green, deletions are red and strike through. Policies 1310, board self-evaluation, 0320, evaluation of the superintendent, 1000, community relations goals, 1130, media relations, 1420, complaints about curricular or instructional materials, 1420R, regulation for informational purposes only. The board doesn't vote on regulations. They're set up by the administration based on the policies. 5225, student personal expression.
Motion.
First reading.
That was first reading.
Okay, first reading, okay. All right, 9.01, 9.01, board members request additional agenda items. Any additions to the agenda? Okay, seeing none. 10.01, comments from the public. So please come forward if you have any comments. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karen Hawkins, and I am an educator and the parent of an LGBTQ.
I have to speak a little
Louder? Okay. Is that better?
That's better.
Awesome. Okay, let me start over. Good evening. My name is Karen Hawkins, and I am an educator and the parent of an LGBTQ student in the Wappinger School District. And I appreciate the opportunity to address you all this evening. We know this district to be a warm and welcoming community. My child was at Wappingers Junior High School last year, and we felt incredibly well supported by the community and the leaders at this school. And I would like to thank you all on the school board for making that possible as well. But tonight I'm here because I was alarmed by some of the candidates that ran for the Wappinger School Board in the spring election. One of them used openly religious slogans on campaign materials, and others were supported by a Christian nationalist group called Moms for Liberty. They are a nationwide group. They have a local chapter, as I'm sure you're now aware, and they have made no secret of their agenda, which includes, among other things, banning books and marginalizing children that they see as different, such as mine. Their strategy is to fund local school board candidates to further their cause. I would like to say that my family, my neighbors, and I are ready to fight Christian nationalism in our community. The number of people willing to stand against groups like this here in our community is growing exponentially. We hope that you will stand with us against the efforts of Christian nationalists in order to defend our very welcoming and inclusive educational community here in Wappingers that we all value so much. I thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Karen Finnegan, and I am a mom in a blended family containing 7 children ages between 15 and 21 years old. When looking for a home, I was strategic in location and picked the town of Fishkill because of the excellent public school system that this location would provide. One thing that a parent learns very quickly is how different each child is from the other. My children are made up of musicians, artists, mathematicians, historians, and one cartographer. My kids are quiet or boisterous, careful with words or bulls in china shops, clean or messy, straight or gay. As a parent, you embrace their differences and love them each with a fierce love. I want to bring to your attention an event that happened during my youngest child's second week of their first year at John Jay High School. I know how hard high school can be for kids who are not exactly like everyone else, and I was particularly concerned for this child. I arrived to pick them up and observe them outside at a picnic table surrounded by a group of other children. All the kids looked, well, unique. They had bright colored hair or shaved heads, piercings, were wearing ripped jeans and crazy t-shirts. When my child hopped in my car, I asked, who were all those people? And the response I got was, oh, those are all my friends in the Gay Straight Alliance. I am here to express to you how very grateful I am that this most precious person in my life had connected with such a wonderful group. I want to let you know how very much I appreciate that such a warm and welcoming and loving environment is available for those kids because they need that. There has been so much divisiveness in this country over the past several years, And an alarming new trend is that extremists have targeted our school systems, teachers, books, and ultimately our children. They call themselves Moms for Liberty and rally other Christians to pull books off shelves that legitimize our queer children or children who may have two dads or two moms as parents. These same Christians have harassed and bullied our teachers. Here are some quotes made within the past 6 months by individuals who are members of the Hudson Valley chapter of this religious extremist group. How does being gay, Black, or a woman enhance your resume? What a stupid world we live in. Our schools are mind-raping our children. Gay marriage is and always was about sexualizing children, full stop. What belongs in school is math, science, history, little phys ed, that's it. That was from a school board candidate. If we can't infuse our Christian values into this school curriculum, we should keep it in a benign state. We have an atheist agenda trying to educate our children. Gay adoption was one of the weapons used to legalize gay marriage. Is that my timer?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap it up and say that we are here to stand behind our teachers and our educators, to stand behind our children, because those quotes are horrifying to hear. I hope everybody got the sense of how distasteful it was for me to say that out loud, knowing that it affects so many people in this school district. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Valentina Grandetti, and my public comment time is not really directed toward you. I am a member of the LGBTQ community, and I'm also a proud member of Moms for Liberty. We are not a Christian extremist group. We are a group of parents who are concerned for our children in the public education system, making sure their rights are protected. For the people behind me, I am not sure where you get your information from, but it is false. And I feel I should defend Moms for Liberty and what we do stand for. Thank you very much.
Hi, Sarah Hanganu, Chapter Chair of Moms for Liberty. I want to thank you all for accepting our donation of the Pop Constitutions. We are very much looking forward to serving the students of this community, and we hope to continue that partnership. To address the comments made prior, I would like to say that I find it interesting, the Christian nationalism thing that we're being called. Many of our candidates were from all different religious backgrounds, Jews, Christians, atheists, and so on. We are supportive of our board, our school board here, that voted to remove inappropriate and pornographic materials earlier this year, so I wanted to thank you guys for that. That's what we're looking to get rid of, is inappropriate and pornographic images. I also want to point out that social media makes it very easy to perpetuate false narratives, and so I think that's a little bit what's happening here tonight. But again, I appreciate you all for accepting our donation, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
I see no one. I like the motion to adjourn. Want to make a motion? Marie, second. Spencer, all in favor? Unanimous.